excited.
Hey, hey! All right, I think we're live. Let me see here. Let me wait and see if it shows up on the page. Yeah, we are, girl.
Woo, I'm excited. Here we go.
This is awesome. All right. So, everybody that's kind of hopping on, we'll give everybody a minute. Looks like Jergita's on. Hey. All right. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Sarah Cutsinger. I am the founder of Posy Pine, which, in short, I do anything calligraphy, home decor, events, branding, coaching. So a little bit of all the worlds put together, just basically being the creative, taking my creative spark and putting it into business as many ways as I can.
Awesome. Awesome. So, tell me a little bit about how you started that.
Okay, so kind of going back before, I never really knew what I wanted to do in my life. Out of high school, it was just one of those things where they're saying, as soon as you graduate, you got to know what you got to do and just go in there. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I didn't really even go into college until like a year after I had graduated. I went to dental school to do an assisting. I got a job at a dental office for 3.5 years. I loved it. And I think being in there, it kind of like helped me with my creativity that I like have missed, because in high school, I was the girl that someone would be like, can you make like signs for my lockers, or can you like, make bubble letters? And so I think I always had like
Yes.
the artistic creativeness about me. But then going into dental, it kind of sparked it, just being able to do like the feelings and like, transforming someone's, smile, which like made a huge impact in their lives. And so I knew like I needed to do more. And so what had happened was I basically was engaged, and we moved into our house like 3 weeks after, or we got an accepted offer 3 weeks after we got engaged. And then we
Oh my
moved
God.
in. I know, it's crazy. And then we moved in and we realized, oh my gosh, we actually don't have any wall decor at all. We have nothing at all to fill these, walls in the house. And so I just went to Hobby Lobby and I found like a really cheap doorknob like hanger. It was like just like a black little canvas like with little knobs on it. And I just wrote the Cutsingers and I posted a picture of it, and someone was like, hey, can you do a wedding sign? And I was thinking, you're going to trust me with the biggest day of your life to do like a really important sign? Like, okay, that's fine. So like there was so much fear behind that, right? Like I was so scared of like doing something out of my comfort zone because it was like a big day for somebody else. But then I was thinking, okay, what happens? Like, what's the worst? Should I just give her money back? Like, and she finds somebody else. And so I posted a picture of the wedding sign, and then Posy Pine happened. So from there, I just had so many brides reach out to me and just ask me for my services. And then it just kind of happened from there.
Oh, awesome. So you kind of got in with like wedding stuff first, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because now that I'm thinking about it, like I started out with weddings. And so I always thought, well, what if this doesn't get past weddings? Like wedding season is usually between March and September. Like, what am I going to do like the slow months? And then I remember I made a doormat for our house and I posted a picture of it. And then I had a realtor from Texas saying, hey, like we would love to give these as like closing gifts. And so a new door opened, getting out of my comfort zone and doing something for somebody else. And then it just happened to, bring me into home decor and like just get me away from like weddings. And so just branching out. But yeah, it started at weddings for sure.
That's awesome. Isn't it funny how like what you think is going to happen, and then there's just always like these branches to your business.
Yes, it's crazy. Yeah.
It just go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say, so like, tell me a little bit about like some pivotal moments like that really shaped you just being an entrepreneur, whether it's with Posy Pine or just along your whole journey.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember the hardest part about being an entrepreneur, and it still is today, getting over the fear of just different things. And it could be that you are fearful of starting something new, or what if no one buys this, or what if no one likes this? And so being able really to figure out what it was that not only I liked, but my audience liked was really helpful for me to figure out where to kind of go from there. And I feel as long as you're taking steps forward and you're kind of going forward in your business, the people that are following you are going to just keep on going with you. And so realizing that the people who didn't like or really, get to connect with what I was doing, they kind of branched off, but I was able to like have more people come on. And so that's kind of like the most fearful thing about like the pivotal moment is being able just to say, I don't have to have like a certain like group of people. I'm able to pull different people from other places in order for me to have, you know, a good following or, you know, good customers who leave good reviews, which is good for referrals. And so being able to get out of the comfort zone and being able to get out of like the fear was the huge like milestone in my business, just because it still is, and it always pops up every single day, and you're always constantly wondering or thinking of like what people are thinking about you or what they're going to say or all those different things. So I feel like the most pivotal thing for me was when I stepped out of that fear and realized, okay, like I'm on my own journey and I don't have to like worry about anybody else. And so like as long as you like stay in your lane and you get out of your comfort zone, I think like just things happen so much for you when you do those things.
Absolutely. And I think as entrepreneurs, like, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, like to think that you're not going to be scared. I mean, there's just every like point of growth. And like, just when you're like, okay, I've got this, like another big breakthrough has to happen. And then you're scared again. And like, it's just like learning to embrace that. Like that was actually something I was going to ask you is like, when you get to those points where you feel that like fear and stuff, what do you do that helps you?
I think it just depends on like what the fear is coming from. I like if it's inside of me, like I have one of my best friends who says whenever you talk bad about yourself or you like doubt yourself, it's called your inner mean girl. And so I think like when fear pops up for me in the sense of like me putting myself out there, I always just have to say nice things to myself. I know that sounds cliche, but I think that when you start figuring out like the fear and like your love, it's more of like when you make decisions, it's kind of like, okay, if I do this, like, what if no one likes it? Or what if, like, it doesn't get the response you want? But then if you just change it around and you're saying, well, what if people do like it? And what if, like, you do have a good, you know, outcome from it? So I think, like, switching, you know, just the way that we talk about ourselves in that kind of fear. But other than that, the fear that I really, really have a hard time with is when I'm developing new products, wondering the price point on it sometimes because it's new. I don't know how it's going to go. And so that kind of fear, ultimately, like I work around it just because I think I have an audience who knows what they're going to pay for with my stuff. So that's who I'm like attracting. So it's a little bit easier that way too.
Yes, your stuff is amazing, by the way. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I'm going to post a picture again of like right in my dining room. I like have your Kentucky picture like framed, and we get so many compliments like all the time. It's so unique. And
yeah, and it's so cool because, and that's the other thing too. It's like whenever for me, for example, like I do so many things that are customized, and so being able to like be different and being able to like have something unique, I think is so cool. But then you get a lot of people who do try to copy, and you know they do all these different things, and I'm just like, all right, just stay in your lane. Like it's no big deal because people are gonna copy no matter what. Like there's always something being copied from somebody else. So I think being authentic in that way is the way to go.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, I know it's hard to take sometimes, but that's like supposed to be the biggest form of flattery, right? Like the fact that people are copying you is such a compliment in its own little way. But so tell me actually, how do you do like the poster I have and stuff? How do you go about doing that?
So I will usually either market it somehow or I'll have someone message me on Etsy and then we'll go to the listing and then you can put 30 words and basically it's whatever kind of wording you want. It could be like Kentucky Derby or like mint julep or home sweet home or whatever it is. And then I basically take all those words on my iPad Pro and I hand letter every single word and I kind of fit everything to mode the state that you're wanting to do it in. And then once I release that outline and it goes away and it makes that Kentucky state, I know like it's good to go.
Yeah, it's really neat. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So have you always been an entrepreneur? Like, tell me about your whole path to getting to the point where Posy Pine came about.
Yeah. So I was an entrepreneur, like I would say probably 4 years ago. I started an MLM business, Beachbody. And I was basically doing it because my best friend was doing it. And we looked at all these older girls who were, you know, in the business and being able to quit their jobs and being able to, you know, like stay at home and make money. And I was just doing it because my best friend was doing it. I had like no love for health and fitness. And I think I think I wanted to like really just be in that because I was thinking, what else am I going to do? Like, I don't want to go to school. And so speaking of school, I went to school because I was thinking, I always knew I kind of always wanted to be an entrepreneur and be my own boss and have my own life and have, you know, my own business. And so I went to school for communications degree, and I literally left with 2 semesters left because I was thinking, you know what, I am going to pursue this because whenever I was doing MLM, I obviously quit Beachbody and then I started doing Posy Pine. And so in that time I was in school. And so I had 2 semesters left and I was thinking, you know what, this is like my backup plan. Like if Posy Pine doesn't work, that means I'll have a degree to fall back on. So I was thinking, you know what, even if I have 2 semesters left and I put a lot of money into it, I'm not going to have a plan B. So I never went to school or never went back to school. I like dropped out because I didn't want to have like that second option of like, what if this doesn't work out? Because it was always going to be that this did work out. So this was probably my very first like quitting my job to pursue this full-time entrepreneur gig that I've had. But honestly, like as soon as I knew and believed that it was going to work, I just hit the ground running with it. And I do not regret ever like not going back to school.
See, I think that is like when I talked to you on the phone, I was like, I love that. I mean, I just think it's so cool that you intentionally stopped school versus like, oh, I just don't feel like doing it anymore or whatever. It was like you actually made the choice to not have a backup.
Yeah. And I think that's the scariest part, I think, for young women. Yeah. I do talk to a lot of girls who are creatives that want to start businesses, but it's always that they're in school. They don't, you know, they can't pursue it at the moment. I'm just like, okay, so are you wanting this to be a part-time job? Like, are you wanting it to be a hobby? Because like, if you're serious about it, unless you're going for like a business degree to like help elevate your business somehow, I just feel that like for me, I intentionally left school because I didn't want that plan B. I didn't want to like set myself up to, if it didn't work out, go for an interview and have the possibility that someone let me go, you know, if it didn't work out 10 years down the road. And so I think being able to like really take that step and talking to my husband and really figuring out what it was that I wanted from it, it made it a lot easier. And I think that whenever you really have everything like in a row for you, I think that it's just so much easier because if you think about it, if you go to school and you think, oh, like here I am going to be in debt, or I don't really want to do this, but it makes a lot of money, or I don't want to do this because, or I'm going to do this because like, you know, it's going to look really good on my college application or my mom and dad are paying for this. I think that you're going about it the wrong way. And I think being able to really understand like your purpose in life and being able to like fully like go for that. Like I knew that for me, I knew that God had a plan for me. And so I was thinking like, okay, I'm not going to go to school. I'm just going to take over this and it's going to work and it's going to be fine. And it's all fell into place. And it is scary. Like that's another thing that was so scary. Like that's where fear popped up. I was like, I only have 2 semesters left and I'm going to leave school like to pursue this. And it was scary, but here I am and I have no regrets for sure.
That's amazing. Like, how would you suggest, and this might be a big question, but like, what about people that are watching that are like, okay, I have a full-time job and like, I don't know if I can leave it, but I'm starting to dabble into like wanting to do this other thing. Like, what would you suggest for them? Do you have any advice on like making that leap of faith?
I think that this is what I envision for myself. I always think if I was alone right now and I had one job to do for the rest of my life, like what would bring me the most happiness? Like, would I be in a corporate job? Would I be in school right now? Or would I have the resources and, you know, invest in my education, invest in like a mentor or a coach or whatever it was to help you pursue something rather than going into school and going at it like a slow way? I would say like what makes you the most happiest? Like what actually brings you the most joy? Because to me, communications and PR sounds great on paper, but like in my free time, being creative and being able to like explore my creative outlet, like that's what I do. And so for me, like this is a no-brainer. And I would honestly say, you know, why are you going to school? Is there another option for you? Like, do you feel like your heart's somewhere else? But that's probably the biggest thing is finding happiness, because I feel like we try to impress our parents so much and the people around us so much that we want to go to school and we don't really pursue it because again, a fear that may happen, or just being able to be, you know, just saying like, yes, like this is like what I want to do.
Yeah.
I would definitely
But
that for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many like options and ways out there. Like myself, I didn't graduate college either. And I actually chose at the time to like invest my time and energy in a Pilates training program. And I just think, for a while I felt like such a failure. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I didn't get a degree and I was so like ashamed about that. And then I've gotten to the point where I've done a lot of work where it's like, that I wasn't going to go get the degree just to have the degree.
Mm-hmm.
Not that going to college is bad, but if it's just for the sake of doing it, then that maybe isn't the right path.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. And I feel like you said, like if you don't get that degree, or if you don't, you already went this far, if you don't finish it out, it almost feels like you're a failure, because what do our parents always tell us? Like, don't ever quit something, like always
Yeah.
like through with it. And so,
Yeah.
and it's especially like if your parents or whoever it is that you're trying to impress or you're doing it for, like if they don't agree with it, like you have to live your own life and understand that like you need to bring your own happiness and no one else is going to bring you that.
Yeah. So true. So true. So speaking of like your like journey and all of this, like what has been like when you've been doing this, like what have you learned? Like just running your own business, like what's come up for you that's been
Oh,
just like,
God.
oh my gosh.
Okay, first of all, I will never, ever, ever let anybody. How do I explain this? I will never create something for someone without payment prior to. And that like sounds crazy. I actually run into that so many times, like with the girls who I have, like who are in brand, like creatives who are like having Etsy stores. Like they will literally make something for someone and then someone never picks it up. Or someone like waits until they pick it up to pay. And I'm like, well, what if they don't come to get it? Like what happened with me is I did a really big order for a baby shower and she never came to get it. And at
Mhm.
that moment, and it's okay because it's like it's trial and error.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I know that like that was my mistake and that was like silly of me. So I am not gonna do that anymore. And I think that's the cool part about having a business is you constantly learn. And it's like all trial and error and it's all fail after fail after fail. And like it sucks. I mean, like I think the one thing that makes you the strongest in business is whenever you fail over and over and over again and like you just don't give up. And I know that sounds so cliche, but there's so many times that people just give up because it's not working out for them, or they're thinking that this journey or like even your weight loss journey or like any kind of journey that you're trying to make money, it's like a sprint and it's a marathon. Like it's if you want to be in like a position, you can. And that's another thing that I will say. Like I always compared myself to the other creatives on Instagram or wherever they were that have been in business for 3 years. And I was thinking, well, why aren't I in that position yet? Why aren't I like, doing what they're doing? Why am I not being able to? And then I was thinking, okay, so what's separating me from them and then me? And they have experience under their belt, but here I am, this newbie coming out like in the beginning. And, the other thing that I will say is asking them for help. I think a lot of times, like when we ask for help,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't give us help. And that's one thing that I too learned in my business was if I could have gone back and actually asked for help and like had someone mentor me or coach me through everything in the beginning of my business, I think I would have like definitely propelled forward, because when you're doing a lot of your things in business by yourself, you have no resources. You can't go back to anything. And so I will say, I know I'm all over the place, but I think that being able to really hone in on what you want and like asking for help is okay. And I think like that's like the biggest part for me is especially whenever I'm working with the girls who are needing like, advice. I'm always community over competition. Like
Yeah.
I know that like for me, I never want to be the kind of girl who's like standoffish or like can't spill the beans about anything. And so I think being able to like really like love on the people that you're around and like helping them in a certain way, not only like is doing good for you, but like you're serving other people, and like that's what it comes down to. And that's another thing. Oh my god, I'm all over the place.
You go, girl. Just tell it all.
But I will say that the one thing that has made the most difference in my business today is looking at impact over income. And like in the sense of, yes, money's great, but the more lives that I'm impacting, and it could be whether I'm working with girls who I am coaching with is one thing, but being able to like create a emotion for the people that pick up my products And when they give it as gifts or they give it to like their loved ones and they're creating an emotion of happiness or sadness or joy, like my work here is done. And like being able like to have someone be able to, you know, make someone else happy, like I think it totally changes your business. And being able to like really realize that, like again, money's great, it's fine, there's money everywhere in the world, but whenever you're able to like help and serve others, there's a huge difference in your business.
Absolutely. And it's so funny you said that, because I was going to go back to when you were talking about like suggesting that people pay before you make products and stuff. I mean, it's like, I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, especially like a single woman ship, right? Like you're running the whole thing. It's sometimes the whole money thing is awkward, like just figuring out what to charge, you know, taking the money, that whole exchange, like but you just hit the nail on the head. It's like by really delivering the value and like going above and beyond and like what you do for these people, it's like all of a sudden all those weird like connections with the payment like go away. Have you found that?
Yes, and I agree. And I think a lot of people this is just me, like I have higher end products that are like more pricier, but I feel like when people spend more money on products, I feel like they take not more like care of it, but I think that they cherish it more. And I think that being able not only to like create that experience, but giving somebody else something that like they feel like is like gold to somebody else or like will, you know, make a huge difference, like a housewarming gift, and being able like to give somebody like a moving away gift and being able to take that piece in their houses for the rest of their lives. I think that there's just so much to say about that, and being able like to create that is like an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, the things that you make it like touch their lives forever. Like they're hanging on our walls, like it's part of our family. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just
And
like
I,
it's
yeah, and it's amazing. And the one thing that I always like go back on is the way that one realtor had told me that, you know, whenever I give like doormats to realtors and whenever they're able to take that to their people and they're giving it out as the gifts, they no longer they have no idea who I am. But what happens is the people who get those gifts from their realtor, now he created an emotion for them of happiness, and because of that moment they sent people over and over and over again to him for houses, and he comes back to me for doormats.
mhm,
So they have
mhm.
no idea who I am. They have no idea who I am, but they know about Josh, who works for the real estate company, who gave them that amazing gift. And whenever people come to their house from now on, they'll see that gift and say, "Where'd you get this?" And then they'll start sending them to Josh. It's just so cool. It's so cool.
Yes. And that's the power. I mean, that right there is like organic marketing
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like whether
Referral.
you would, yeah,
Yeah.
referrals. I mean, it's just like by really delivering more than you even say you're going to. I mean, that has the biggest, I think, impact on a business when you're the sole person running it. You know, it's important to over deliver. That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
With
That's
everything
awesome.
you do, like even whenever I am like packaging things, like the little bitty like thank you, like handwritten thank you notes, and just going above and beyond to make it feel like it's not like a Target, you know, like item on your front step. It's like a handmade, you know, hand lettered, like loved and adored piece being like given to you, and like I hope like whenever you get that, you just feel that, and like there's just something about that emotion that you are able to give people. I think it's so cool. And I never honestly like even experienced it or even thought about it until 3 months ago when I started really like focusing on that part.
Oh, it makes such a big difference because you feel like, as the person receiving it, you feel like, okay, she actually cares about me and not just I'm another sale,
Yeah.
you know, and we've all been on the other side of that. Like you can feel that, you know, energetically. And
Well, I think too, even like for both of us, I think that the more that you treat people well, like the referrals and like just, I think your business just speaks for itself whenever like, I always believe that who you are in life is who you are in business, and you are your brand. And so
yeah,
being able to really like treat people well, like as I would
yeah.
outside of myself, I think that that also says a lot about the business too. I think just referrals in general, like just speaks so highly for people to say like, I totally suggest her. I highly recommend her.
Yes, that's awesome. So what struggles have you overcome? Like what, so speaking of like the real honest, like crap side of an entrepreneur, I mean, I don't want to get negative here, but you and I both know like we're human, right? Like we have good days, we have bad days. Like what struggles have you, bumps in the road that you've had to overcome?
Oh my gosh. So I have this really bad problem of, it's not really a problem, but I tell people that they can do pickup if they're local. And so I give them my house address. And so, like,
I think this might be me that you're about to go into.
No, it's not. I know for a fact it wasn't you because it just happened like 2 weeks ago. But I'll tell somebody, okay, it'll be ready on Thursday at 4, and they'll come over at Tuesday at 2, and they're like, I was in the area, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, that wasn't me.
no, it's not. It's not ready. But being like having, I think communicating really well with like my customers and clients and being able to like, tell them everything, like, and saying like, hey, like, do not come at this time, or just being able to like really put on the line, like, all right, like the boundaries, like, all right, so if I don't answer my phone calls on the weekends, like I don't answer emails on weekends, and they say like, oh, well, I didn't hear back from you all weekend. Well, I don't answer them. It's on my page. But I think that not only that as one of the things that I feel like I'm trying to work on, but I think too, taking so much on your plate. I like want to like help everyone, and I want to be like helpful. But I think what happens is the more that I have on my plate, I realize that the estimated time of delivery is getting like
Yeah.
it was 2 to 3 weeks, and now it's 3 to 4, and I'm like, well, I want to be able to like give people stuff faster, but being able to like have everything is amazing, but just a lot on your plate as an entrepreneur, you don't know when to say stop sometimes. And I think that's my biggest problem is like, and I will find myself on my phone whenever I'm with my husband or with my family, and like I hate it because I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes it's so hard to be like, all right, these are my business hours, but these are my like family hours. And that's so hard because I want to be able to like still like answer emails, but I think I'm still struggling a little bit with like just getting off my phone and like being able to like when we go out to dinner, if I'm like with my family at dinner, like we definitely put our phones away. Me and my husband put our phones away, but it's like at nighttime, like even when we're watching TV, answering an email, that has got to be like the hardest thing. It's like, why can't I just unplug and like be in the moment?
Yeah, it is hard. And I mean, phones are a blessing, but I think also having so much connected in that one little device where we always have with us is hard as an entrepreneur because I struggle with the same thing, that need to feel like, okay, I should respond real quick because I saw it, and yeah, but sticking to business hours does really help, but it's not easy to do.
No, not at all. And I think that's the hard part too, is I think that because we live in a time now like where everything is on our phone, like, and we hear a ding, it's like, oh, we gotta check that really quick. And I always want my response rate to be super quick because like that's just is what
Yeah.
it's. And so I'm like, oh no, it's Friday. I can't answer them back on Sunday. My response rate will go down. So it's like, why can't I just like relax and be like, all right, like my business hours do not include weekends.
That stupid Facebook response time. They should just take that down and we would feel so much less pressure.
It literally makes me feel like I am like letting these people down. I'm like, oh my God, I have like an okay response. It used to be super fast.
That's awesome. Well, you know what though? I think people understand. I mean, especially if you can communicate and just say, hey, like I'll get back to you on Monday or
Yes. It's like
but yeah, I mean,
we constantly think about that, right? We're always like, we're so hard on ourselves and we're like, well, I could have done better at this, or I could have answered this faster.
I know. And that's just a matter of like realizing that you're not going to be perfect. That like, I always tell people like your business is like a living, breathing human, right? And it changes and it grows, but it's also like flawed too. I mean, let's be real. Your business is not perfect, just like we're not perfect.
Yep, completely. And I would say the other thing that I'm really now thinking about, the other thing that I feel like I'm not as good at is being able to have more resources. Like I think that the more that you see that there's other places out there that can do it for cheaper, like the same quality, I feel like I do the same thing over and over again because I'm just used to it. But I know so many girls around me who are constantly saying, well, you can go here and get this a better deal and they'll send it back to you in 2 days versus 2 weeks. And so I think like what you know is what you know, and being able to like, get outside of your comfort zone, like I was saying, and be able like to explore new things is always really, really good too.
Yes. Awesome. Well, what other advice do you have for like entrepreneurs that are watching or women that are like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. Like I want this life of freedom. Even though it can be a mess sometimes, but like, I mean, what advice do you have for them?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, I would say, like I was saying before, do not compare yourself. I think that that's the most important thing for you to look at your chapter 1 on their chapter 10 and realize that it's not going to be, what you think of it. And I think that the hardest thing for women especially is and like I was saying, community over competition. I feel like the more that we try to reach out to women, it's like there is like this gate up with us for some reason. Like we have to be catty and we can't like ask for help. And like you and I, like, we have like similar, like coaching things that we do. But I think it's amazing that I come on here and help your girls. And, you can like have me on here to help out. And I think that being able to have a group of women or a tribe or whatever it is that you want to call them, and really like if there's something that happens in your business, talking to people, I feel like there's so many times that we feel like we can't talk about problems because it makes us like feel less, or that we don't feel like we're good enough, or like, oh, well, something bad happened, so like I guess everything's not going great. But I think that being able to have a place for girls, or even like a community of people just to talk about things that are happening, I feel like you would understand there's more people around you who are going through the same thing as you. And I think that just being able to help someone like in another way, and not even like money, like being able to like buy something from someone, but actually like truly helping somebody else and serving, like just to be like an open ear for somebody, or just being there for someone. I feel like there's just not enough help in this world, and we're always against each other, and it's just nasty. And I feel like being able to find people that you can lean on through the hard times in business that may not know exactly what you're going through, but they can also like support you and like help you out a little bit. I think that really speaks volume for not only your business, but in your life in general, just to have like a very, very strong group of people who are there for you to support you. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think like I totally agree with you. Like as women in business, it's like we should have each other's back more than anybody has each other's back.
Right.
Instead of being against each other, it's like we should be like, yes, like I totally know how hard this is, and like cheering each other on,
And I agree. And even like whenever I talk to my girls in my branding course, I just feel like they never knew that there was even a mentor out there, or someone who would literally go out of their way to help them build a business. And I think that it's so shocking to me, because I remember whenever I was getting into my business, there were so many people, like I said, that I would reach out to, and they would leave me on read, or they wouldn't respond, or they would give me like short answers. And I'm like, why are we like competing? Like you're in San Diego, or you're in Indiana. Like we're not even on, like, I'm not taking any of your clients. You're not taking any of mine. Like why are we being like this? But I think that being able, honestly, to find your community over competition, I think is going to be huge for you. And honestly, the second thing that I will say is serving in another way and looking at income over impact. I think that's going to be huge, because I feel like there's so many people who are doing businesses for money now, or trying to get rich fast, or, being able to like find like the really fast shortcut to getting to success. But once you find out that there's other people who, love what they do, I think that you should really just be able to figure out what it is that you love, and then kind of go with it, instead of figuring out how to make money the fastest, because that is the fastest way that you're going to be burnt out on your business. For sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about doing it like owning your strengths, figuring out what you're not good at, and reaching out for people that can help you with the things that you maybe need help with.
Yes.
Like I'm always about like trading, even like, I don't know, like, like you and I both help people with like branding and stuff, but I mean, I don't do graphic design. So it's like, if you or somebody else is good at that, it's like, go find them, go find that person that can help bring that part of your business, and I think
it's amazing. I think that being able to like have people that you're able to network with as well. It's like, I love bartering, and I love being able to not only support other, businesses, but being able to like, again, referral based, like being able to like serve somebody else in a really, really good way, and then have them come back. And like you said, it's like, you may need logo design. I may need a Pilates instructor. You just don't ever know. And it's like the things that you build connections with other people, and then you always think of them first whenever you're looking for Pilates or you're looking for logo design. And so I think that if you treat people well and you treat people good, they're always going to remember that. They're going to remember that more than anything. I think the way that you leave an impression on someone's going to leave the most effect with them.
Absolutely. And it's just the need, again, for women to make genuine connections.
Yes.
I think that's something that, social media is great, because like, honestly, if it weren't for social media, I probably would have never met you. It's just, that's just a beauty about it. But then it's also, sometimes it takes away that like genuine connection that I think as women, we need, that like
Yeah.
true ups and downs, like you were talking about before,
Yeah.
like sharing, being vulnerable and sharing the good times and the bad in business, and reaching out when you need help, and just making that, letting that guard down, and like really helping one another, supporting one another.
And I think that it's so, I don't know why, but for some reason, like we just feel like we just can't talk about our problems. Like we can't talk about like the failures in our business because everybody has them. Like everybody, like whether you're an entrepreneur or you're just in regular business, you will go through things that you fail and that, you know, is trial and error. But I think that being able to have people there to support you helps you propel in your business and be able to like use that in a great way instead of thinking like, oh, people are going to judge me. They're not going to like what I say, or like, well, I don't want to tell someone this because I'm afraid that, you know, I'll get judged about this. And so I feel like if we're just open, we like allow other people to be open with us.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, I recently went through this whole thing where I did this live video where I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to stop just trying to be perfect. Like, you know, here I am sitting in a car with a baby crying, like hot mess, but like, this is my life, you know? I mean, he's probably crying right now upstairs. Like, it just is what it is. And like, yeah, I know, these are great. But I mean, I think it's true. It's like just letting, like, just being vulnerable and showing that we all struggle, instead of thinking that like everybody's perfect Instagram or Facebook life is how it really is, and you're the only one over here drowning. Like, that's not how it really is.
And I think also this is like such like, I just thought about this. I think being authentic, you're able to really attract those people who you're just like. And this is what I'm saying. Like I will look on people's Instagram who have like the perfect life, who's traveling, who has like amazing hair. They never talk about anything that's bad in their life. But then like I have someone who is fairly my age who like takes pictures with no makeup on, who like loves themselves for everything. And I'm able to connect so much more with those people. And I think that being able to put yourself out there and be like authentic, you're going to attract so many more like genuine people in your life. For sure. Like, I just thought about that. Like, that is, like, so true because I feel like there's so many times that I do lives all the time on my Instagram without any makeup on because I'm not going to go get dolled up, like, for, like, a live video. And I get so many people saying, like, I love that you don't have to wear makeup, or I love that you're just, like, so real and transparent. And I think that just speaks so much louder than the people who just fake it, you know, 24/7. And so just being authentic and, like, just being able to, like, really accept and love who you are, and being able to like accept other people and being able to like bring them into like your all's authentic lives yeah,
no, it's so true. And I mean, it's like that whole your vibe attracts your tribe kind of thing, right? Like you attract people similar to you. And that's such a good point, that if you're trying to pretend to be perfect, you're going to also attract these people that are also trying to be perfect instead of like genuine, real people, which is, that's a good point, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I've just loved talking to you, and like just how like open and honest and real you are. And
thank you, Haylee. I had so much fun. Like when you asked me to do this, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. And I think it's so nice too, because like you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to like ask people to like share their stories like with your followers, because it's going to help obviously them in some way. And so I think like you doing this is like amazing, and I'm just so happy to like have this opportunity. So thank you. I had so much fun. We'll have to do this more often.
I know, this is so fun. I'm so excited. And I really I'm interested to hear some feedback from the viewers. I don't know if you've been seeing some comments, but like, I like this better than the Facebook Live as far as
love it.
Being able to like see you.
It looks like it's like CNN. Like we're both beside each other and our little names on the bottom.
CNN with wine, right? I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I just had this vision like months ago before I started my coaching program of like just women like genuinely connecting in like a community of women. So to me, it's like having you on and sharing your story. Like, I love people's story. Like, to me, it means so much more than just like, you're amazing at the products you make, but like, I want to know the person behind it. Like, I want to know how you got there, you know?
And I think, like I said, being able to connect with someone, because if I was in calligraphy, like a lot of my followers, and I just posted pictures of my work, but I never did lives. They've never heard my voice. They've never heard like my story. They don't know who I am. It's like, you can connect with their work, but how much cooler would it be if like you connected with the person behind the camera?
Yes. And you're in branding too. So, you know, like I'm always encouraging girls, like, be real. People want to see you. Like, I think a lot of times people think that Facebook Live and stuff like this is just for coaching or things like that. It's not. I mean,
No.
whether you sell anything, like I have some gals that do like organization and stuff for homes. It's like they want to know who you are, because the basics of sales is like people purchase and jump into things from emotion.
Yeah.
Like they want to know that the person behind that beautiful Kentucky artwork isn't just that it's nice, but it's like this person is an amazing, beautiful soul. And like that makes you feel even better, you know?
I think too, like you always want to feel good where your money goes. Like it's kind of like if you go to a restaurant and you hated your waiter, but you hated that you had to tip them. And it's like, why would you not, like, you want to feel good about where your money's going. And I feel like if you connect with their brand, you connect with like the work, and you feel good about, you know, the money that you're spending, it makes it better than being like, oh, like, I love this piece, but like she would never write back to me. It was so hard for me to get a hold of her. And so I think like just being able to like have like a clear line of communication, being able to connect with not only like the coach or the creative or the photographer, whatever it is behind the photo. I think all of it together, like, again, like I am my brand, like the way that I dress is my brand, the way that I talk. And so everything from the way, like whatever I make and whatever I drink and whatever I do on my free time, like that's my brand. And so I feel like that's so important to be able to like really show those different sides of you.
Yes, that is so true. I mean, it's you. When you're an entrepreneur by yourself, you are your brand. And it's like reconnecting with who you are and just being authentic, no matter what service, what sale, whatever you do, it's just connecting with who you really are. So
yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, Sarah, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and just being you and sharing the ups and downs, and your journey was beautiful and I really appreciate it.
Well, like I said, Haylee, thank you so much. If you have any other times you want me to pop on, I will be all about it.
We'll do this again. I will do this again. This is so fun.
This was such a good time. But again, thank you so much for having me. I hope I helped somebody out there.
You did. We got beautiful comments. I think you really inspired some ladies, which is amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Haylee.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
You too. See ya. Bye.
Bye.